Well, welcome everybody. Jacob's just setting this up. It's just a PowerPoint basically for junior high school kids and kind of goes through what you guys have to look forward to. And a lot of people haven't thought of a policing career, so if this is kind of out in left field, you know what, kind of keep it as plan B. We always encourage people to get further education prior to coming to the police service. It's not a requirement, but any kind of life experience that you have is going to be an asset to us. I did a 4-year degree actually in the States, and it was an education degree, and I had always wanted to do policing. So my plan B became my plan A. And everything that I learned in my education, I totally have used in the police service. We have people who were dentists, we have people who were, you know, doctors, lots of nurses, you know, all those kind of things. And when you get to work with someone like that and you go to a call and they get to use the skills that they used previously, it just kind of reiterates how important it is to get education. And yeah, like your plan A can be your plan B, and it changes around like that. So maybe this is your plan B, maybe this is your plan A, but just kind of sit back and listen and see if you are intrigued at all.
Yeah, and we take from a wide range of backgrounds. Myself, I'm an ex-military. I used to be a soldier prior to this. But you know what? We hire teachers, we hire university graduates, we hire soccer moms, we hire guys in the trades, we hire 19-year-olds straight out of high school, right? So we hire a wide range of people, and there is no one way to become a police officer. And I think that's important because everybody has something different to offer us and to offer the citizens of Edmonton, serving them as a police officer. And this is an excellent career. You're going out there and you're helping people, and you know what? A lot of people think we're constantly in vehicle chases and we got our gun out all the time and we're going to armed robberies constantly, and that's not the case. You're working with the community to get rid of that drug house. You're helping that kid that's going down the wrong path and is hanging out with the wrong friends. You're trying to get him back on the straight and narrow. You're helping the spousal violence victim and helping her to get out of her domestic violence situation. So you can do a lot of good in this job. And yeah, we do catch bad guys, and we do get in high-speed vehicle pursuits at times, but it's rare, and most of the time you're just out there helping people, and that's what this job's all about. I apologize, this slideshow, we could talk for probably an hour, so we're going to burn through the slides here, but I think it's important because it's a nice visual to complement us speaking here.
So if you do have questions about, we're going to be at the booth, so we're kind of going to burn through this. I was just talking to a couple guys that came by our booth, and I think the biggest thing that I really enjoy is that it's never the same day twice. I'm not sitting in a cubicle day after day doing the same job, this kind of repetitive motion. I can go to a neighbor dispute one day and be like, oh, I did one of those yesterday, and then go to another one and it balloons into something a lot bigger. All of a sudden, it's a spousal violence situation, or in one case, it was an 88-year-old and a 67-year-old man fighting over a fence post, and one head butted the other. So, you know what? You just never know. Age doesn't matter in that case. But yeah, like Jacob said, you're making a difference in your community. We police the city of Edmonton. We're not RCMP, so you wouldn't move. You'd stay in Edmonton. So it's really about if you're interested in policing, it's about where you want to live. I wanted to live in the city. I didn't want to have my backup 3 hours away in the RCMP, so I stayed in Edmonton. But if your interest is rural policing, the RCMP would be a great choice, or a smaller community police.
Another bonus to policing is you can have 5 or 6 different careers within one career. There's over 100 different specialty areas to work within the police service, and they're all so vastly different. They're all doing the same thing. They're all for a law enforcement purpose. But you can work in forensics, investigating homicide scenes and fingerprints and blood spatter, DNA type stuff. You can work in tactical. You can work as a canine officer and your partner's a canine. You can work undercover if you so chose. You could work in our gang unit. You can work as a school resource officer, working with kids. We've also got child risk response teams dealing with troubled families. We've got detectives that work in our child pornography area, child abuse section. We've got, you know what, there's so many different areas to work. We've got police officers flying the helicopter. So if really you can have 5 or 6 different careers in one, and as soon as you get bored of a spot where you're working, you put in for a transfer to go somewhere else. So you go from forensics to canine, then work undercover, then you could put in for promotion if you chose, and work as a detective in robbery, or if you chose homicide or child protection unit, then you could put in for another promotion if you wanted, or you could stay as a constable for your entire career. There's no pressure to put in for the promotion process. We ask that our applicants get some volunteering in their community, get involved in their community, because there's an expectation that we stay involved in the community while we're working. So to apply to the police service, we look very strongly on and favorably on having some volunteer hours. It doesn't matter where you're volunteering. It can be anywhere. It can be at the soup kitchen. Myself, when I was in the military, I was posted to Four Wing Cold Lake. I volunteered at high school dances. That's what I did. I chaperoned them. And so that was volunteer hours, though, so it worked for me. And you make some great friends along the way. We're a very tight-knit organization, and family is the #1 focus. In a couple of weeks, we're renting out the West Edmonton Water Park, and we're taking all our kids there, and it's just going to be police officers and their families.
This is just a picture of, in recruit class, you wear these white epaulets just to show that you're a recruit. And in the police, it's a paramilitary organization, so there is a rank structure. So Jake and I are both constables, so we're at the bottom. But you can work your way up. If you choose, like he said, you could be a constable for life, and there's a lot of them out there. And you can work your way up to, sergeant, detective, whatever that way. In this room, you probably won't think of a pension, so maybe the parents will be like, a pension. It's very important. You don't really plan on, when you retire, there's a great pension at 25 years. Some people stay longer than that. They just love policing. Here's the salaries here. So day 1 of recruit class, you're making $55,000. Recruit class is about 5 months, and then you'll go into more of a training with a training officer. And it goes up quite quickly, obviously, to your 5th year. And then, as I said, your senior constable, or if you want to get promoted. So he's dusting for fingerprints.
Okay. Minimum requirements to become a police officer. The #1 thing is honesty, integrity, and we ask you to have some life experience. We do hire 19-year-olds. We have hired a 19-year-old in our last class. He was mature beyond his years, an excellent candidate. We want you to go out and get some post-secondary education, travel the world, work somewhere for the same employer for say 2 or 3 years, and just go out there and get some life experience, because this job's all about being able to communicate with people and talk with people, because your ability to communicate is your #1 weapon when dealing with an agitated person, and it works 95% of the time. For that 5% that just don't want to be arrested, they provide us with the tools to get the job done. But if you're a good communicator, that's #1, and that comes with life experience and maturity. We ask that you have grade 12 diploma or equivalent, so we would accept the GED. If you, in your situation, you won't necessarily have a grade 12 diploma, but we will accept a GED as an equivalent. Excellent health and physical condition, meet medical standards. We ask that you have a valid Class 5 operator's license. That's unrestricted, so the GDL drivers have to get that GDL removed from their Class 5 operator's license. Good written and verbal communication skills. We ask that you have current first aid and CPR. And the biggie is we ask that you be 3 years clear of any detected or undetected criminal activity. We have to make sure that the people we're taking on are good, honest people and are mature. When we screw up, we make the front page of the Edmonton Sun, and it's a big deal. So we have to be taking on mature individuals that aren't going to make the Edmonton Police Service look bad in the public eye.
So just to reiterate, the 3 years clear, that means that if, let's say, you stole something 2 years ago but weren't arrested or weren't found out, that's still undetected criminal activity. So keep your nose clean. That's what I always say. And just to also with the GED test, that's the General Education Development Test. So you can take your portfolio to Alberta Ed and say, is this enough for an Alberta diploma? Because you will need an Alberta diploma or an equivalency. So they may say, yep, here's your diploma, put it in with your application, or they may say you need to take your GED test, and then you'll get a high school equivalency.
Okay, we're not going to go into the selection process itself. It's an 8-stage selection process, and it's pass-fail. So to move on to the next stage, you have to pass the stage prior. We're not going to get into that because the reality is a lot of the students here are 16, 17. They're not going to be looking at applying right now, and this could change in a few years. So if you have any specific questions about the selection process itself, come and talk to us at our booth. We're more than happy to answer those questions, but we're not going to delve into that right now.
Like I said about keeping your nose clean, it's about protecting your character. And if you're hanging out with people who are not good people and you know they aren't, if I was recruiting you and I sat down in an interview and you said, yeah, my friends, they deal drugs and I live with them, I'd probably say, well, you have decisions to make, right? And those are hard decisions to make. You may lose friends who are, dealing drugs or doing drugs or stealing or committing vandalism crimes. But those are the kind of things that we're looking for you to say, hey, I'm not that person. So I'm not going to be a sheep and follow them. You want to protect your character, because that's what we'll look at. And when we interview you, you have to fill out a big kind of stack of papers saying basically what you've done your whole life and any bad things you've done. And that's what I look for. What choices have you made to go along that straight and narrow path?
Okay, and just because we got a short amount of time, and again, we could talk for an hour, and we've got videos we could show, but we just don't have time for it. You know what? Keep us in mind. We're an excellent plan B, and while you're going out and getting some life experience and getting some post-secondary, this is an excellent career where you can really give back to your community. It's a noble, honorable career, and it's not for everybody, but there certainly are going to be some people here that it will be for, and you can really give back to your community and make a difference. So thank you very much, and I guess we'll open it up to any questions.
Come on, police officers.
Perfect. One in the back. We have an Edmonton Police Association. It's our own union that looks after us, so we are different than the RCMP. And we're municipal, whereas the RCMP will be federal. The question is whether it's harder on white males to get promoted or progress in their career as a police officer, and no, that's not the case. We don't have a quota where we're hiring a certain ethnicity, or we have to hire a certain amount of females. It's best person for the job, and that's the same with the promotion process. The best candidate gets promoted. You have to go through some pretty intense interviews and written exams to get promoted. So it's not based on seniority at all. It's based on how well you perform. Yep. No, everyone's, and the question is someone's personal belief going to affect their eligibility to become a police officer? And no, that's not the case. We take from all different backgrounds and all different types of people. And say you were dispatched to a domestic dispute between a male and a male. If you felt uncomfortable responding to that based on your beliefs, let the dispatcher know, call him, and then he'll send someone else.
I think it's important. I was kind of black and white. I'm from a Christian family as well, and I definitely have a bigger gray area than I did prior to getting on the police service. That you will have to put things aside, and you will have to kind of stretch your beliefs. But you're still built in those foundations, right? Those are your foundations. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
The question is whether the application process is going to screen out those with certain viewpoints. And you know what, I haven't seen it yet, if that's the case. Everybody's entitled to their beliefs, and I haven't seen someone screened out because they believe one certain thing. I'm going to throw this out there. If you're, say, a neo-Nazi, I think Edmonton Police might have issues with that. But, if it's not something to that extreme, I can't see that screening someone else. Question in the back? The question was, what special requirements or prerequisites will you require to put in for some of our specialized units, such as canine or tactical or forensics? And you'll find in your first 3 or 4 years in the job, you're going to be working as a patrol officer. You're going to be in a patrol vehicle wearing the uniform like us. During that first 3 or 4 years, you start to get a feel for what your interests and your strengths are. If you're really good at interviewing people and getting confessions out of people, you know, you're going to start taking some interviewing interrogation courses, and you're going to start grooming yourself to be a detective. If you want to be a canine officer, you'll start volunteering your time with our canine unit in those first 3 or 4 years and start taking courses in regards to becoming a canine officer. Or if you're interested in forensics, you'll take courses to start gearing and grooming you towards becoming a forensics officer. So you will be taking courses in your first 3 or 4 years based on what your interests are, based on where you want to go, so that you can get there. Because when you apply, it is a competitive process. You're applying with other police officers to become a canine officer. So you want to make sure you've taken courses and you volunteered with that unit and put in some time and gotten your face seen, so that you are the strongest candidate when you apply. Question in the back? The question is, can you transfer to other cities if you're an Edmonton police officer, say Victoria Police? What, in a sense, you're doing is you're quitting the Edmonton Police Service and you're applying to Victoria Police. So you wouldn't have to quit the Edmonton Police Service prior to applying to Victoria Police, but you'd be leaving the city of Edmonton and you'd be signing up with the city of Victoria. They'll treat you as an experienced officer and pay you an equivalent salary, and you won't have to go through the entire police academy again. But you're, in a sense, leaving one employer and joining another employer. It's not like the RCMP where you can transfer across Canada and you're still working for the RCMP. One on the side there? Question? The question was, when we receive applications, how many do we receive for the certain amount of recruit classes or recruit class that we're holding? We're accepting applications on an ongoing process. There isn't a certain time to apply to the Edmonton Police Service. For example, this year, we're putting 4 classes of 26 recruits through this year. We're doing a lot of hiring over the next few years because the baby boomers are retiring on us, so we're trying to keep up with that. So you could apply in January. If you were offered employment in March, the next recruit class may not start till May, but we'll take you on and we'll load you onto that recruit class in May, and you start getting paid from day one. You start getting your first year constable salary from day one of recruit training. But if we offer you employment in, say, March, and the next recruit class is until May or June, we have the option to offer you a pre-hire employment, is what we call it. So if you're leaving one career and joining us, we'll start paying you your first year's salary and just keep you busy within one of our community stations, so that you are making an income while you wait for the next recruit training class to start. You don't have to. You can stay with your employer and end with your current employer on Friday, then start with the Edmonton Police on Monday and recruit training if you so chose.
Okay, we'll take 2 more. Yeah, go ahead.
The question was, if a homeschooled student goes to NAIT or Mount Royal College or U of A and obtains post-secondary certificate, diploma, or degree, are they required to still have an Alberta high school diploma or equivalent? The answer, unfortunately, is yes. We're bound by provincial standards, by the provincial chiefs of police, to have it mandatory that you have a high school diploma or equivalent on top of your post-secondary diploma or degree. From a common sense standpoint, I don't necessarily agree with that, but that's the provincial standard we have to abide by, and if we don't abide by it, then we get our hands slapped by the provincial chiefs of police. So it seems silly, but yes, you do still have to have your GED, even if you have a degree in phys ed or something along that lines. At this time, I'm not going to say that's not going to change, but at this time, it is what it is. Any more questions? One more? One in the back? The question was the courses that we offer, or say the RCMP officer, the RCMP offer, are they mandatory? Do police officers have to take these courses? No. We have mandatory training 4 times a year, and that's more for self-defense, and it's training that, we have to keep our skills up to par, and we have to keep our skills fresh. And I mean, if worst case scenario, you have to shoot your firearm, you want to make sure you hit the target and you don't miss. So it's important that you maintain your skills. We have in-house courses offered to the Edmonton Police Service. And you know what, there's such a wide range of courses. Some of our suicide intervention courses, civilians do sign up for, and they can sign up for to take. There are specific courses that are directed just towards police officers, but we send our officers across Canada as well. We get training with the RCMP, we go to the Ontario Police College. Officers have been sent to the FBI Academy for training. So the Edmonton Police does offer courses, but we go elsewhere ourselves too and obtain training all over Canada and North America. You know what, if anybody has any other questions, because I know we've taken up a lot of time here, come talk to us at the booth. If you have questions about the selection process itself and the stages, come talk to us. I'm more than happy to answer them and what our standards are and medical standards and such. But we'll be here all day. Thank you.